What's up, guys? Ian here, coach of your Surrey Stingers, bringing you guys our Week 8 team builder, taking on Sacred and the Houston Absols. Should be a really fun one. Sacred took over this team. It was originally coached by my good friend Shade and the Calgary Talonflames. Then Lunar and the United Kingdom took over, and then Sacred took over from Lunar, who dropped unexpectedly midway through as well. So Shade drafted a really strong team around Megalodios and Fernape, and then dropped a bunch of stuff, and then Lunar picked up the team and dropped a bunch of stuff, and then Sacred picked up a team but left it the same way that Lunar left it. So luckily I didn't have to re-prep for multiple another another set of changes. I think the team's really strong as is, and Sacred showed that. His first week picking up the team, he got a 6-0. So really strong performance out of him in the first week. So that scares me a little bit for this match. I'm not going to lie. Currently in this heading into this match, we are in second place, which is really good heading into the playoffs. The problem is seventh place, which is just outside of the playoffs, has 4 wins. So we're still in a really tight race for playoffs. I think it's going to go all the way to the end. Honestly, it's going to unless we can just win our way out now, we aren't going to clinch very early. Yeah, so let's just talk about Sacred's team then. He's got the Megalodios, Infernape Z user, Ferrothorn, Sylveon, Mandibuzz, Tentacruel, Rotom, Dugtrio Z user, Ambipom, Armaldo, and Cloyster. It's a really strong team overall. There's a lot of aspects of it I like a lot. Some aspects that I'm not super huge on, but that's just me. In terms of priority, he's got the Infernape with Mach Punch and Vacuum Wave, Ambipom with Fake Out, Cloyster with Ice Shard. That's all the relevant ones at the very least. There's other things in there. Like Sylveon Quick Attack, Megalodios Sucker Punch, things that are fairly irrelevant. Dugtrio Sucker Punch is actually a relevant one, though, that I probably should have written down. I completely forgot about Dugtrio getting a Sucker Punch. I just haven't played against Dougie in a while. Hazard setters, he's got the Infernape with Rocks, Ferrothorn with Rocks and Spikes, Tentacruel with T-Spikes, Dugtrio with Rocks, Armaldo with Rocks, Cloyster with Spikes and T-Spikes. So tons of hazard options. I am bringing multiple forms of removal this week to get rid of those. In fact, my only 2 forms of removal on the team. Removal options on his end. He's got the Megalodios with Defog, Mandibuzz with Defog, Tentacruel with Rapid Spin, Armaldo with Rapid Spin, Cloyster with Rapid Spin, and Rotom with Defog. So triple spinners makes it really difficult to want to run like a Spikes Roserade against him or anything like that, although it does match up really, really well against a Ferrothorn lead, in my opinion. I just can't justify it all that much, even though, yeah, it matches up well against the Ferrothorn, Tentacruel, Cloyster, and Armaldo. The bigger issue is that Mandibuzz, I think, is more likely to come anyways as a Mega Lopunny check. And so I think that's going to be his way of removing regardless, and Mandibuzz just beats Roserade 1v1. In terms of 4 times weaknesses, it's only the Ferrothorn to Fire, but he does have some key other weaknesses on his team. He's got a large flying weakness. In fact, his flying resist is Rotom. So that is something we've got to keep in mind, and that is why you see a Braviary on your screen, because this is another matchup. It's a lot like Blood, but Blood did bring dual steel and a rock because he brought the Silvally Steel and he brought the Aerodactyl. Sorry, he didn't bring Aerodactyl. No, I'm going crazy. But he brought Silvally Steel and the Heatran, so he had measures in place for the Braviary, and it still put a lot of pressure on him. This team is a lot more free to just click Brave Bird against. Like, I don't even see Rotom coming all that often. In all honesty, the mons I don't see coming are the Ambipom and the Armaldo. Ambipom actually does put on a lot of offensive pressure against my team. I just don't think it's really the best fit for him when he's going to want to fit other mons on there. I think Megalodios 100% is coming. I think the Infernape is 100% coming. Otherwise, he literally cannot beat the Jirachi. I think Mandibuzz is 100% coming as a Jirachi and Mega Lopunny check. And I think Ferrothorn's 100% coming. Excuse me. So that's 4. Sylveon is a big maybe for me, but it could come. It doesn't actually have that great of a matchup. It's just really a good Garchomp check, which maybe Mandibuzz can check as well. But do you really want Mandibuzz checking 3 things at the same time? Seems pretty risky. I think Dugtrio is 100% coming. It's his best way to deal with Raikou. Otherwise, Raikou steamrolls him. So that's 5 then. And then one of his waters. It's either one of his waters or Sylveon, I think, are the best options for him. I really don't see Rotom coming all that often against me. yeah, it just doesn't make that much sense unless that ends up being his Mega Lopunny check. It really can't check Mega Lopunny all that well. Its bulk is fairly middling because it doesn't have an appliance attached to it. So I'd imagine it's going to be the Tentacruel, probably Tentacruel and Ferrothorn. So honestly, like I could just see him bringing his top 6, or throw a Dugtrio in there as well as sort of the options. Armaldo really just doesn't make any sense against me. I would be very happy if it came against me because I don't think it's got a good matchup at all. Ambipom I would be scared of if it comes. Same with Rotom and same with Cloyster, but I just don't see them being super viable options. You know, Hazard Sack against me isn't all that viable. You don't really get the time to set up things like spikes, so I think he's just going to rely on a single rocker, which will be the Ferrothorn most likely. If Ferrothorn comes, I think it's going to be the rocker over the Infernape. Okay, so let's talk about my team. I am bringing a regularly physically defensive Blastoise. This is missing 4 EVs. I don't know how that happened, but it was. With Roar, Earthquake, Rapid Spin, and Liquidation. So I wanted to bring a physical variant of Blastoise, so I didn't get just absolutely hard-walled by the Sylveon. So this can actually threaten the Sylveon a little bit. I've got the Roar on there. I'm sort of mixed defensive, really, but I've got the Roar on there for any setup variants of Cloyster in particular. Cloyster really struggles to hit Blastoise, and so I can phase it really easily if he's a Shell Smash set. Get rid of the White Herb shenanigans going on there, and then maybe pick it off later. I'm not bringing any priority for it, though, so it kind of just wins, potentially, if it gets up a Shell Smash. If Jirachi's healthy, though, it doesn't, so have to see about that one. Yeah, basically just phasing like Calm Mind Lottie is pretty useful. I think he's going to probably rock the T-Bolt, or he might have to rely on Draco. You know, some SD variant of Infernape, or a Nasty Plot variant of Infernape, I guess. Mainly Shell Smash Cloyster, though. That's the main idea in terms of that. He cannot run just flat mono-attacking Megalotti against me because I have Drapion. So he can't rely, unless he really is relying on Infernape to kill Drapion before he starts setting up Calm Minds. I don't think he can do that. I also just don't think he can run Mono Psychic against a Jirachi team, but again, he's got the Infernape there, so Infernape does cover Mega Latias in a lot of ways, in terms of like breaking the steals that Lottie can't touch, and in terms of breaking the darks that Lottie can't touch, it's really effective at that. Something that Sylveon can half do, but other half can't do. And then Dugtrio sort of synergizes well with it. So it was a really, you know, there's a lot going on there. But again, if I bring in the Sylveon, then this is my best bet. I've got the Rapid Spin on there just for the hazards. Earthquake is there for Tentacruel. So in theory, I can just 1v1 the Tentacruel, and he can't set up T-Spikes against me, is the idea, I guess. You know, if he does bring Rotom, then he's got a Spin Blocker. Shouldn't matter all that much. I am packing Defog on the Braviary. Jirachi's next, Shed Shell set, so I am very scared of that Dugtrio, and I know I value my Jirachi a lot in this matchup as a Mega Latias answer to an extent with the Toxic there. I should be able to fairly easily break a sub with Iron Head as well, and against anything that I'm faster than, if he's a defensive Lottie, I should outspeed it and be able to flinch him to death, sort of thing. Rocks are reasonably important to, at the very least, to break a Sash on the Cloyster, if he doesn't leave with a Sash variant, or to chip the Mandibuzz down so that Lopunny can 1v1 it. I'm actually not bringing a very offensive Lopunny this week, and I'll sort of talk about that in a second, but the Rocks chip is really valuable against those two mons in particular, and if I force him to waste a turn spinning, then I'm also okay with that. Psyshock's there for the Tentacruel because I really couldn't just beat it with just Mono Iron Head, so I wanted to be able to hit the Tentacruel and the... No, not the Sylveon, the Infernape. So Ferrothorn has a really good matchup against this Jirachi, and I sort of have to swap into something else to deal with Ferrothorn. I don't have a good Ferrothorn swap, so that's where it gets really scary. I wanted to put U-Turn on this over the Toxic. I just cannot justify not having Toxic against a Mega Lottie. It's so incredibly important to have to carry Toxic on something for it. Realistically, my other option is Blastoise, and I don't want Blastoise to stay in on that thing the whole time. So I am speed tying the Tentacruel if it does choose to run max speed, but there you go. Just I have to deal with Ferrothorn with this Lopunny, realistically, with Drain Punching. I've got Encore there to lock Ferrothorn into something like Rocks, lock the Omega Lottie into something like Calm Mind, and then I can more easily deal with it. Or I can Encore anything into something and then get the momentum with Baton Pass. Dry Baton Pass is allowed, so this is a legal set. I'm running Drain Punch and Return, just Dual Stab. I mean, realistically, you don't really need much more with Lopunny. I thought about running High Jump Kick. I think he's going... It's more than likely... He's got a few Protect Mons, though, so I don't want to run High Jump Kick against all of his Protect shenanigans, especially because Mandibuzz might run Protect as well. But the Ferrothorn will run it, especially... Definitely will run it, actually. Sylveon, I would never click High Jump Kick against anyways. And I think the Mandibuzz might run it if he's running it. It's a good scouting move for him regardless, against any sort of Scarfer I have. Too bad the Scarfer that I'm bringing is Braviary, so it just absolutely bops him. I'm running enough speed on the Lopunny for Dugtrio, so unfortunately I cannot run Adamant against him, although I would love to, because that stupid Dugtrio's in the way, and just barely outspeeds an Adamant Mega Lopunny, although I think it's more than likely he's only going to speed creep the Raikou. It's better safe than sorry, honestly. Max attack, a little bit of HP, well, actually a lot of HP, because I don't have to run that much speed with Jolly. That's the idea behind the Lopunny. It's really not all that offensive because I'm running Drain Punch rather than High Jump Kick, but should be able to still two-shot things like Infernape, still should two-shot things like Ferrothorn, Tentacruel. Dugtrio should get one-shot actually by return because it's really frail. Rotom, depending on his bulk investment, may get one-shot by return, I'm not sure. Ambipom should definitely get one-shot by Drain Punch, and then Cloyster and Armaldo both get two-shot. Braviary, just really Brave Bird spam is so free. Being able to get some momentum with U-turn is pretty important here too. I have the superpower just in case I really need to break through something like a Cloyster or like a Ferrothorn. Should just be able to power through on those, and then I've got Defog to get rid of hazards if I absolutely need to. I could have speed tied Mandibuzz, but I don't think there's any reason for him to run Scarf max speed Mandibuzz. It makes absolutely no sense. So instead, I am outspeeding Cloyster. So if he's Scarf Cloyster, then I'll outspeed Scarf Cloyster. That's pretty much all there is to it. Clefable! Offensive Clefable with Calm Mind. This is a really fun bring this week. Basically, all of the things that are faster than Clefable, bar Physical Infernape, and Ambipom, really struggle against this sort of variant. So, I didn't actually want to, I wanted to change this. So I'm actually going to be a bold set with a little bit of special attack investment instead. Because I'm running the Calm Mind and I already have the Life Orb, I don't need the offensive damage. And so this way, the Mons that are, like I said before, the Mons that are faster than me, that are physical, shouldn't be able to break me. And the Mons that I can set up on are the specially offensive ones. Actually, I want this in speed for the Sylveon. Clefable, outspeeds, no speed, self. Yeah, okay, so that's the idea behind the Clefable set. Really offensive. Moonblast, Flamethrower. Flamethrower is really only there for the Ferrothorn. I can kind of just set up Calm Minds for days on the Tentacruel unless he's got a Haze or a Clear Spunk set. So it's a little bit dangerous, but at the same time, he can't do that much back to me. I've got the recovery there with Soft Boiled. I should actually be able to set up Calm Minds on the Mega Latios. Where it gets really dangerous is if he's bringing Psyshock over Psychic. That's where it gets really dangerous. I'm not entirely sure which one he would opt to bring. I don't have anything that's like traditionally a special wall. Like something like if I was playing a Sylveon team or a Florges team, I'm bringing Psyshock 100%. But I don't really have anything on the squad that's like really traditionally special that he would want to hit with Psyshock versus Psychic. So kind of hoping he opts into Psychic rather than Psyshock, because then this Clefable has a much easier time of things. But it's definitely a solid win con. It's the first time I'm bringing like really offensive Clefable all season, and I'm hoping I can put in some work. Last but not least is Golurk, bring protective pads. So the reason I'm bringing protective pads is that it functions like long reach against the Ferrothorn. And so essentially I can just Shadow Punch or Ice Punch the Ferrothorn and not take Iron Barb's damage, which I think is really important. I opted out of Fire Punch because I wanted Dual Stab with the Earthquake to hit Mons like Tentacruel. I didn't need it all that much, but I think Earthquake, it'll hit a few things a little bit harder, and that's kind of what I wanted out of this set for the most part there. Shadow Punch, realistically, it's not hitting all that much outside of the Rotom. In fact, I probably could get rid of Shadow Punch for Fire Punch and just have a better way to break the Ferrothorn. Huh. That's not a horrible... Oh, no, you know what? I had Shadow Punch... Okay, so Shadow Punch is going to hit the Latias a little bit harder, I think. It's only base 60 versus base 75. I didn't really look at those all that much. Heavy Slam, I'm just going to look at the calc while I explain the rest of the set. So, Heavy Slam should obliterate the Sylveon. I kind of threw stuff in random EVs. I wanted a little bit of speed investment. Thought the little bit of speed investment was just a tiny bit important. Ferrothorn, Hazard Setter, I'm running 132 attack. And I've got this little 50 Ferrothorn. I've got the Earthquake's already on the set, so I've got Shadow Punch, Ice Punch, but if I change Ice Punch to Fire Punch, how much is that doing? Okay, so Fire Punch is definitely worth the bring against the Ferrothorn, otherwise I'm just not hitting it, and that's kind of the whole idea behind Protective Pad. So I am just going to drop Shadow Punch for Fire Punch. It does make more sense to bring in the matchup now that I'm calcing it. I was a little bit lazy with the prep this week and opted not to go that sort of route with the set. But yeah, Protective Pads, that's the only reason I brought it. I didn't really have a better item choice that I wanted to bring. I could have run Colbur Berry, would have been alright against like an Ambipom bring. But I really just felt like not taking the Iron Barb's damage was fairly valuable here to me. I'm not entirely sure if I live any hits from the Ferrothorn. Let me actually... I closed the calc already. Oh well. I probably don't survive a Power Whip from an invested set, but that's what the defensive investment's kind of there for on the Golurk. I am max HP. It's not really switching to all that much, but it threatens a lot of stuff if I can bring it in for free, and that's the whole idea behind it. I thought about a Rock Polish variant as well, but I really need all of the options this week, so Ice Punch is there for the Lottie now, primarily for the Lottie, and also for the Mandibuzz. Iron Fist boosted. Golurk's actually really strong. It's one of my kill leaders on the team right now. It's 3-0, I believe. Megalopony is actually 9-3, so I'm really pleased with Megalopony. 9 kills in 7 games. Pretty impressive. Like, people just... You prep for it, but if you can't deal with it, you can't deal with it, you know? So, Brett has really been the only person I've been impressed with how they've dealt with my Megalopony this season. Everyone else has been sort of with their Megalopony. Oh, actually, you know what? Gremlin with his Buzzwole was really good too. But everyone else has been really meh with their Lopunny checks on their teams. So, and I believe it's come to every game, actually. Cool. In terms of what I'm not bringing, though, the Roserade. Like I mentioned, it's got a really good matchup against his Hazard Setters, bar Infernape, of course. And anything that's slower than it, you know, can break the Sylveon fairly easily. But mods like Megalotti kind of like threaten it a lot. Doug Trio can trap it, and Roserade's really frail on the physically defensive side, so Dougie can still break through it even with a neutral hit. Wasn't super sure about the Mandibuzz. You know, he could definitely bring like an Overcoat set to block Sleep Powder. I think it's more than likely he'd be a weak armor set to outspeed Megalopony and then kill it with a Brave Bird. That would be my best guess on his choice of Mandibuzz set. It's a pretty reliable way to beat Megalopony. It is that Mandibuzz set in particular. Yeah, not much more to say about that than that, really. Raikou, I think, can do a decent amount of work here, but I didn't bring it. He's got some special walls in the Sylveon, the Megalodios, you know, even the Rotom for that sake, but Shadow Ball would hit them fairly decently. The Tentacruel probably doesn't even die to 1 T-Bolt because of how Spadef it is. Ferrothorn, you really have to run like Aura Sphere or HP Fire for it. It's a great way to break Mandibuzz for the Lopunny. I just couldn't see myself doing it. Wait, did I already play someone who had Mandibuzz on their team? Why do I feel like it got picked up? Oh, fuck, I did. Hispanic had Mandibuzz. Shit, I just played this shit in week 4. God damn it. Oh, man. Well, okay, the main reason I'm not bringing Raikou is the Dougie. Because I think Dougie's coming for Jirachi plus Raikou. But, and Drapion, I guess, as well. Because he might think the Drapion's a really good bring against the Sylveon and the Megalodios, which it is. Segueing into my next point here. Again, Dougie was a big problem for the Drapion, and I really just felt like it was kind of a little bit passive against some of his walls, in a sense, just because if I wasn't bringing like a Sword Stance set, you know, something like Ferrothorn just kind of sets hazards on me for free, and doesn't really lose all that much unless I have coverage options for it. But if I have the coverage options, then I lose Swords Dance. So it's kind of a lose-lose situation with the Drapion there. You guys might be thinking, what the fuck? Where's the Garchomp? Yeah, good question. Cloyster is a problem for that. So is Sylveon, actually. So is Infernape. Like, Infernape with HP Ice is scary, guys. Megalodios, scary. Outspeeds me. Honestly, end of the day, Garchomp just can't break Mandibuzz without SDZ. I wasn't super comfortable with the Garchomp set this week when I would rather have Braviary. Just because I see the lack of flying resist on his team, I put Braviary in the spotlight in terms of the physical attackers. And so that's the direction I wanted to go with that. You'll notice the team is very lacking in special offense this week. I'm going to patch that up next week. I make a drop. I don't know if it's actually been approved as I type this. Oh, it has! It has been approved, actually. It actually has been approved. So I am making a drop. I'm dropping Drapion and Heatmore for Chandelure next week, which should put me down to 10 Mons again, which is how I finished out last season. And we had a really successful run to the end of last season with that super offensive team with the Kartana pickup right at the end of the season. The Kartana, Azelf, and Empoleon pickups I thought were really good for my team last season. And so this season, I'm dropping Drapion. I didn't really need the extra T-Spikes. The speed tier doesn't really fill anything that I needed. The only thing I'm missing out of it is a Dark typing. I kind of have anything like that mitigated. You know, Jirachi 4 times resists Psychic, Megalopony is immune to Ghost, so I'm not really going to miss the Dark type all that much. I'm going to miss the knockoff spam, I think. Heatmore, I wanted to replace it, get a better Fire type out of it, and Chandelure was still on the board, so I got some really good Ghost spam. I think Golurk's a little bit more niche in matchups, and Chandelure, despite it having the same speed tier as Braviary, so both of them being fairly reliable Scarfers there, I think Chandelure just breaks a little bit better. And it's going to come to more games than Raikou is, I think. Raikou tends to just be shut down by ground types because it doesn't have a better way to get out besides Volt Switch. Yeah, like there's been a couple of matchups where I'm like, oh wow, Raikou really goes in if there's no ground type here, and unfortunately that's just sort of been the case in terms of what I've been bringing with Raikou. I do think Chandelure is a really good, solid option here. There's one matchup in particular I'm really looking to bring Chandelure for. Actually, sorry, 2 of my matchups, Chandelure kind of goes in, and right at the end of the season, Chandelure goes in as well. So there's a few matchups that here at the end of the season, like of the last 4, I think I would probably bring Chandelure to maybe all of them, depending on how I feel that day. But it kind of just breaks a little bit better than Heatmore can on the special side. So yeah, do I really need to talk about why I'm not bringing Heatmore to this game? Like, it can break Ferrothorn, sure, but like it's really useless outside of that this game. So that's the team. I went on for a lot longer than I wanted to about this one, but yeah, there you go. Last note, Sacred's logo is based on the Astros, and I think it's a really sick logo. Go Jays, by the way, as the baseball season is on now. Really sad to hear about Kevin Pillar being traded, but he hasn't been like living up to expectations from the organization for a while now, so I can completely understand it as well. That's going to be it for me, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I will catch you guys for the match.